Good evening. Welcome again to Varsity Sports Live. Tom Neiman along with Jason and Dara. Jody Norstedt standing by in West Fargo tonight. Jandy, we are in week 6 for some teams in the high school football season. And the more you know, the more you don't know.
Well, yeah.
In the big schools in South Dakota.
I feel like it's a story that unfolds throughout the season, and you do know more. But yes, there are definitely curveballs that come up about this time of the year that make you wonder, do you really know what we're talking about? But it makes it more fun, and that helped both in North and South Dakota.
Let's start with the scores in South Dakota. And Brandon Valley and Watertown, this game was close before Brandon Valley pulls it up.
Well, and really, it was much closer than the score reflected. But how about this? Tate Johnson ran for 293 yards for Brandon Valley.
Watertown
game ball coming up.
Threw for 400 yards in this game, but Brandon Valley is 4-1. Game we had on TV live tonight here on Midco Sports Network. Sioux Falls Roosevelt, he blocked punt for his safety was the difference in this one as the Rough Riders beat the Tigers 23-21, and we'll take another look at it coming up in a little bit. Sioux Falls Lincoln is 4-1. They got a couple of touchdown passes from Tommy Thompson tonight to beat Aberdeen Central 25-13. Tate Wishart had 5 touchdowns for Gorman as they beat Rapid City Central 56-28. Stevens and Washington just went final, and we'll get to North Dakota here in a second, unless we go there right now. Bismarck Century did beat Minot tonight 43-13. Legacy over Bismarck High 30-14 as Legacy gets to 3-2. Williston beat Jamestown tonight in North Dakota 30. The Coyotes are now 3-2 on the season. All right, back to South Dakota. Huron on homecoming beat Sturgis 35-13, so the Tigers are 3-2. In 11A, T-Area goes to overtime to beat Madison 27-21. We'll take a look at that game coming up. It was Flandreau tonight.
Yeah, Bridgewater Emery-Eaton handled them.
Brady Hawkins accounted for 6 touchdowns for the Seahawks as Bridgewater Emery-Eaton is 6-0 now. So is Winter. Winter 6-0. Touchdowns from Sam Kruger and Philip Jorgensen to win 14-6 this evening. In 9-man football, Britton-Hecla gets by Kimball-White Lake. Britton-Hecla's 5-0. Alcester Hudson not up to task tonight against Colman-Egan. That game was called at halftime, so Colman-Egan is 5-0 after that 60-0 win. Back to Brookings. Bobcats are 5-0, Janny. Tanner Shepardson accounted for 4 touchdowns tonight.
Yeah, he had a great night, and quietly, I mean, Pierre is getting all the headlines in AA, but Brookings undefeated still.
Yankton and Mitchell combined for 87 points there. The Colonels get 5 touchdowns from Parker Phillips. And some highlights of that shootout between Yankton and Mitchell coming up as well. Dell Rapids is 5-0. They beat Tri-Valley tonight 35-6. Dakota Valley gets to 4-1 with a win at home over West Central.
That game was delayed for quite a while, and they came back, and it was really a close ending. And we've got a couple highlights of that coming up too.
9-man football, Bonham beats Kimball-White Lake tonight, so Bonham is 6-0 in 9AA. And Viborg-Hurley, we'll take a look at the Cougars coming up as well. They got down 6-0, reeled off 42 straight points to get to 5-0 on the season. All right, back to North Dakota. There is Sheyenne. West Fargo Sheyenne is unbeaten right now at 5-0 as they beat West Fargo tonight. Jody's got highlights of that here in a minute. Fargo Davies is 4-1 as the Eagles beat Fargo South tonight 32-7.
2 tough losses in a row for Fargo South.
Shanley is 4-1 after a win over Fargo North tonight. In the Battle of Grand Forks, the Red River Rough Riders all over Grand Forks Central. Jody's got highlights of that here in a moment. Bismarck Century is unbeaten at 5-0. A win over Minot tonight 43-13. Jody's got highlights of that. Mandan, it gets to 3-2, a 49-12 win over Dickinson this evening. Bismarck Legacy, as we mentioned, beat Bismarck High 30-14. So Legacy is 3-2. Bismarck High drops to 2-3 on the season. Williston over Jamestown 27-21. And in 2A in North Dakota, Hillsboro Central Valley The Burros are 5-0 after that win over Wahpeton tonight. Valley City gets to 3-2. First loss of the season for Kindred. 2A as well. Turtle Mountain falls to Bismarck St. Mary's. The Saints win 44-12. And in the Coal Bowl, the Miners from Beulah beat Hazen 26-21. Beulah is 4-1 on the season. Highlights of both those games coming. Class A in North Dakota. Lisbon knocks off Oaks 48-38. Lisbon stays unbeaten at 5-0. Langdon Edmore Munich is 6-0 as they win 48-6 tonight over West Hope Newburgh Glenburn. Velva 5-0 as well in Class A, 20-6 tonight over Delax Burlington. And Shiloh Christian is 6-0 now on the year as they beat Killdeer 38-13. Highlights in a moment.
Move to 11-man, no big deal for Shiloh Christian.
And 9-man in North Dakota. LaMoure, Litchfield, Marion falls to Findlay, Sharon, Hope, Page. The Spartans are 6-0. New Rockford, Sheyenne, and Nelson County, no report on that one. New Rockford, Sheyenne 4-0 going into that game. Ray Powers Lake, the Outlaws are 5-1 after they roll it up on Surrey tonight. And Linton HMB 5-0 after a win over Beach 28-8.
There's one score that we didn't have up here that we got to talk about, and that was Pier. They had no problem whatsoever with Spearfish, but interestingly enough, didn't allow a first down in the entire game and held Spearfish to -6 yards. So we wondered, what could Pier do even more than the way that they've started this season? Well, they held the team to 0 first downs.
They have dominated almost everybody. Pierce 5-0. Garrett Stout had 7 touchdowns in the first half of that game, I think 3 rushing and 4 passing or something. But Stout's close to 30 touchdowns on the season through 5 games.
He's been definitely making a case for Player of the Year. He has been incredible.
All right, South Dakota highlights coming up a little bit later. Let's go to West Fargo in our studio there. Jody Norstedt is standing by with all of tonight's North Dakota highlights. Hi, Jode.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Fabulous. How are you?
Fabulous. Nice job on the call tonight.
Great game tonight.
That was fun, yeah. The Roosevelt-Harrisburg game was really good down here.
Pretty good stuff. Well, let's take a look at some of these North Dakota highlights. We start with a big rivalry out east. West Fargo Sheyenne against West Fargo High. And look at that trophy, the Ogre. But they're also playing for a special purpose. Of course, Landon Solberg passing away last weekend. Tough for that community, but they're rallying around him tonight and sporting the neon socks for Landon's light and representing him and his family well. Kenneth Ray Jones with the sack. And then West Fargo going to the air, but it's picked off by Alex Erlob. That's Erlob's 4th interception in 4 games. He missed last week. Back to the Packer defense, though. Ray Jones, yeah, that one looked like it hurt. Grant Workentine drilled again. The boys in blue can play defense too. Tommy Bright haunted the Packers last year, did it again tonight. The senior sacks Dustin Mertz. Ball loose, Packers recover though. We finally get some offense late in the first half. Quick throw, Workentine to Tyler Terhark, who fights the defender for it. Terhark's 4th touchdown catch of the year. Sheyenne up 7-0 at the half. Midway through the third, and Brika Penu, boy has he been good this year. Breaks a tackle, turns on the Jets, 14-zip. The EDC's leading rusher gets richer. First play of the Packers' next possession, Mertz goes deep, but another one of those INTs. He's gotten better at that over the last couple games. Took a step back in this one. Lance Oster with the pick. Following possession, things get a little chippy, and this leads to ejections. The Mustangs lose their QB Workentine, while the Packers lose their lineman Casey Ortiz for the game. Packers keep the Mustangs off the board after the scuffle, but Tyler Terhark picks off Mertz. It's the 3rd interception of the game. Terhark, he had 7 of those last year. West Fargo still has a shot in the game though. Mertz calls his own number on 4th down and scores from 2 yards out. Packers missed the point after, but only trail by 8 with under 4 to play after converting a 4th down to their own deep in their own end. Penu puts this game away. 65 yards, seals the game. Sheyenne wins this one, 21-6. So a big win for their Mustangs, their 2nd straight victory over the Packers after not beating them at all in the years prior. So a big win for Sheyenne on rivalry night.
Feels outstanding. We never want to be in the losing end of this, especially to a crosstown rival. So it's been outstanding so far. It means a lot knowing who they are, knowing who they are as a program. They always do things right, and they always make it difficult for us. So having this win was was a big one for us. My line was doing an outstanding job, giving me holes to look through. They made my job easy. All I had to do was just run through the holes, and they were doing the hard part, blocking. So.
Top 5 battle at Fargo South. Davies trying to join Sheyenne as the only unbeatens left in the conference. Eagles taking on Fargo South. South still a little sour about last week's performance in West Fargo. After a scoreless first, Davies breaks through on the ground. The jet sweep to Jack Carlson. Missed extra point though, 6-0 Davies. A few minutes later, Davies with the ball again. This time the handoff to Sam Moser up the middle. The shifty back makes a few Bruins miss and then takes one across the goal line. It's 14-0. But the Eagles were just taking flight in this one. 2 minutes later, Reed Hartness is going to throw it up for the future Bison. Ty Satter on the out. Nice catch, but he wants more than that. He goes up the sideline and in for the score. Davies with a commanding 20-0 lead. But wait, there's more. On South's turf, Davies looking like they're flying high in this one. Who else but Ty Satter? Hartness, one-handed catch. How about that? Does he have Stickum on those hands? He goes up the sideline again, 26-0. Davies leads it at half. Then in the fourth, how about one more for good measure? Ethan Ency puts the exclamation point on this one. Davies with a lot of the top rushers in the EDC, and they get into the end zone. Davies down south, 32-7 in this one. A dominant performance by the Eagles, led by Satter.
Reed threw a great pass. It was a perfect spot. It was, the coach called a great back shoulder instead of just a regular 9, and I just made a play and got a score in before the half. I think we just came out with the mindset of we got to get after him right away, and we knew that if we got after him and scored first and won the turnover battle, I think we knew we were gonna come out victorious in this game.
So Davies and Sheyenne still unbeaten in conference play. How about the top team in the state, Century, entering the night having only surrendered 2 touchdowns through the first 4 games? Could Minot find a chink in their armor? Peyton Fillion coming off that big rushing performance. The Magi bottle up the run play here, but they don't bottle up the run play here. Cade Garcia gets loose against the defense. Into the second level, runs into his teammate, and the Magicians finally catch him. Then it's Cade Feeney, so good at extending plays, rolls out, finds Skylar Reedinger in the end zone for the touchdown to cap off the drive. And the Pats win this one with ease against Minot, 43-13. So the best team in the state, still looking like the best team in the state. We'll have them on our airways next Friday against Mandan. The battle in Bismarck pitted 2-2 Legacy against 2-2 Bismarck High. Legacy was outscored 56-0 in this game last season. Demons hoping for more destruction like that this year. Third play from scrimmage, Lucas Miller gains the edge, and he's in to make it 7-0. Legacy thinking, not again. Well, they have the answer. Lyric Hoffman tucking in behind that big old line, pushes his way through, tying the game at 7 apiece. And then later in the first half, Rhett Clemens looking for Hoffman through the air, and check out the diving catch by number 33. Legacy again taking advantage of the guys up front. Don't say that very often when going against the Demons. Clemens scores on the sneak. It's 14-7. Second quarter, this is what it looks like when a guy enters beast mode. Ben Morrow slips a few tackles and then carries a defender like Flava Flav carrying a clock around his neck. Touchdown Sabres. Yeah, Mr. Morloff, drink up, bud. You earned it. 21-7 Sabres at the break. Legacy keeps rolling. Clemens passing to Brady Berman on the opening drive of the third. Another high point catch. Then it's Clemens. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Scores on the sneak. 27-7 Legacy. The Sabres pick up a huge win over the Demons. 30-14 Legacy. Thinking about making a serious run at a playoff spot. Here's reaction afterward.
Every time you get down 7-0 right away, the other team scores first, you always want to hang your head, but our team knows that we can't do that, and we fought back, we scored the next drive, and then everything went good from there.
How about Red River taking on Grand Forks Central? These two rivals clashing, the 23rd Cushman Classic, and it was all Rough Riders from the get-go, literally. Very first play, Connor Arl takes the pitch, gets to the outside, breaks the tackle, and he's gone. 60 yards to the house, meandering his way to the end zone. They lead at 7-0. Second quarter now. Red River turns out to the air. Parker Monet, boy, he is just one of those fun quarterbacks to watch. Bryce Enerson, one of those fun wide receivers to watch. One of the best in the EDC. This one is 52 yards to pay dirt. Riders up 14-0 over the Rivals. Then Monet to Enerson again. Less than 3 minutes later, this one is going to go 70 yards. Those boys in Red River are just padding the stats tonight. Up 28-0 at the half, and Red River goes on to win big 41-0 tonight. Let's hop down to Class 2A. Kindred trying to find we'll go to the Coal Bowl. Beulah taking on Hazen. First drive of the game, Miners in the red zone. Trey Brandt fakes the handoff, rolls to his left, and he's got a man in the end zone, and that's Jonah Larson. Miners on the board, 7-zip. Later in the first quarter, the Bison storm down the field. Isaac Dahl in the fun hands off to his running back, Tyson Vanningwagen, in for the touchdown. Two-pointer no good, 7-6 Miners still. Same quarter, Bison with the ball. Dahl fakes the handoff, rolls, but he's picked off by Nathan Baddist. The Miners drive carries on over to the second quarter when Brandt fakes the handoff, fools me and the rest of the Hazen defense on the QB keeper. 13-6 at the half. Let's take a look at the final on this one. The second-ranked Beulah Miners pull out the victory on rivalry night. The Coal Bowl, they win it by 5. The other team ranked second in the poll. Kindred trying to find a spark on offense here against Valley City. Offense was hard to come by in this game at Kindred High School. Caden Olson is going to pitch this one to Dawson Schaefer. Highliners have it sniffed out though. Peyton Zahn and Avery Benefield shove him out for a loss of 3. So the Vikings are backed up, but they dig out of a hole. Gunnar Broughton, he's a special talent. He was the homecoming king. They get it to that playmaker, turns it upfield, gets the first down. But that was the most explosive play of the half allowed by Scott Rohrich's team. As for the Valley City offense, facing 3rd and 11, senior QB Tate Suffolcool has defenders all around him, and then he takes off. Every yard was earned in this game. Suffolcool big first down, but it was all punts in the first half. So how about we show you some more defense? Kindred trying that pitch again, and same result, not working. Zahn and Hayden Jones running over the runner with a side of pain there. Highliner defense playing inspired. Derek Deagle comes flying in for the sack. Kind of ties the quarterback's shoelaces there, 10 yards deep. Here's the top offensive play of the first half. Suffolcool putting this pass in a perfect spot, and with the defender hanging on his neck, Colby Bruner makes the catch for a first down midway through the second. Kindred's defense wasn't about to give up points either, though. Max Spear is going to take the pitch and then gets a face full of Broughton. That play is going nowhere but backwards. So no scoring, no turnovers in the first half. The rock fight ends with Valley City coming out with a massive road win over the second-ranked Vikings, 13-0. I said it at the beginning of the year. Valley City going to be the most improved team in Class 2A. They start out with a tough schedule, but don't look now. Here come the Highliners, up to 3-2 on the season. St. Mary's trying to recover from its worst start since 2011. The 1-2 Saints hosting Turtle Mountain, not treating their guests very well. Braves fumble. It's recovered by Reese Barnhart. Saints have the ball. Take it down the field, but opt for a field goal. Adam Richter splits the uprights. Turtle Mountain with the ball now. Kason Peltier. This kid is really exciting to watch if you get the opportunity. He picks up 30 on this play, but it won't lead to points. Saints ball now, and it's Cullen Curl on a breakaway. Who says it's too early for hockey season? Cullen plays a little puck. He goes all the way for a long touchdown run. Later, it's goal line time, which means Joel Huber time. He plows into the end zone for 6. St. Mary's rolls to a 44-12 win in this one. Let's hop down to Class A. Battle of some undefeated teams between Lisbon and number 2 Oaks. Let's take a look. Oaks trying to get going first as David Schmitz can return the opening kickoff all the way, and I think we might have had a miscue on the way we exported highlights. So you saw a field goal there. We'll try to get those later, maybe in zone coverage. 48-38, Lisbon goes on to beat Oaks at Oaks. So these Broncos, they are for real. They'll be at Thompson next week for another Prove It To Me game. Shiloh has made the move to 11-man, looking like a breeze. The unbeaten and 4th-ranked Skyhawks hosting 2-2 Killdeer. Scoreless in the first when the Cowboys ride into the end zone. John Tomjack forcing his way across the goal line for the 7-0 lead. Everyone helping him. That's Cowboy tough right there. Back come the Skyhawks. Jaden Mitzel going to the end zone, and Cole Walt does a great job of hanging on for the touchdown grab. Shiloh fails on the 2-point attempts, so Killdeer still up 7-6. After forcing a turnover on downs, Mitzel looking for his main man again. Walt all alone. He can pretty much walk into the end zone if he wanted to. The home team goes in front. Then just seconds before the horn, Mitzel passes for his 3rd touchdown. of the opening quarter. This one goes to Trey Brunell. Mitchell in a giving mood on this final Friday in September. And Shiloh goes on to win this one. No problem. 38-13. The Skyhawks at Bowman County next week. That one will be a lot of fun. LaMoure, Litchfield, Marion taking on Findlay, Sharon, Hope, Page. Big matchup in 9-man. The Spartans trying to get things going early. They're undefeated this year. Remember, up to 3rd in state. Jack Irie is going to hurdle a defender here for a first down. The UND commit looking strong, and he had a big night tonight. After turning over on downs, the Lobos try to break loose. Derek Cecil almost does, but his toe just steps out of bounds. Spartan coach Andrew Tans trying to rally his guys to make something happen. 3 minutes left in the half. Irie takes the pitch, rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, 17 yards into the end zone for the first score of the game, 8-zip Spartans. That gives the students something to cheer about. On the Lobos' first play after giving up a score, Anthony Hansen finds Colton Ness, who takes it down to the Spartan 15. Good blocking out in front of him as he's finding his way. Next play, Brett Wendell takes the pitch from Hansen, and he's going to just ride the sideline until he finds the end zone. Hey, he beat the ref to the end zone. How about that? And then find your popcorn, because this one just gets interesting really quick. With 30 seconds left in the half, Owen Zerfis airs it out 13 yards to the guy that is always rumbling and bumbling. That's Mr. Irie. What can't Lumberjack Irie do? He hauls in the touchdown pass. And how about this? Findlay Sharon Hope Page comes away with the 30-18 win. Irie with 32 rushes for 288 yards and 2 touchdowns. So FSHP looking really good. We'll try to get you those Oaks and Lisbon highlights. Big victory for Lisbon. We'll try to get you that coming up in zone coverage tonight, guys. But that's a wrap for up here. The East for the EDC and AAA, Davies in Sheyenne. Just the 2 teams that we thought would be at the front are at the front here as we are 3 games into the conference season, in Century looking like the best team in the state. They get Mandan next week, and we get to televise it.
How about that West Fargo? It's really becoming a rivalry. It looked like it got kind of serious there for a second.
Yeah, tempers were flaring, man. That's an important game, and I think both teams understand how important that was. They entered 2-0 in conference play, both of them. I know West Fargo's 2-2 on the season coming into this one, but that was an important game for them, and it was really a slugfest. But Sheyenne comes out with its 2nd win in a row against the Packers. All
right, I'm impressed that you know who Flavor Flav is, too.
Hey, you like that?
Yeah,
the clock? I'm just hoping some of the kids know who Flava Flav is.
Look it up. All right,
see.
Thanks, Jody.
Yeah,
we'll see you in a little bit in zone coverage.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we will get to the South Dakota highlights tonight. Harrisburg and Roosevelt. Great game at Howard Wood Field in Sioux Falls. South Dakota highlights coming up next.
Varsity Sports Live on Midco Sports Network is presented by Avera Orthopedics, South Dakota State University, and Farmers Union Insurance.
Welcome back to Varsity Sports Live. Let's get to the South Dakota highlights tonight, Jandy. And Harrisburg, South Dakota is a booming little Sioux Falls suburb, so to speak, right south of Sioux Falls, growing. They get a lot of kids that live in Sioux Falls to go to Harrisburg. The school district is huge, and they are making some noise in 3A football.
Honestly, every time they've moved up a class, usually it takes them a little while to assimilate, but wow, they've done it pretty quickly here in AAA. First year in AAA, out to a 4-0 start, and then they played a pretty good game here tonight.
Taking on Roosevelt at Howard Wood Field, homecoming for the Riders. This was an early game out there, and Joe Turre has come on at running back for the Riders, gets them out to a 7-0 lead. But Anders Clayton comes back for Harrisburg. They didn't have a lot on the ground, but they get the touchdown there to tie it up 7-7, and then 72 yards here as Brady Dannenbring goes to Michael Paulson. And the Riders are up 14-7 at the end of the first quarter.
He absolutely exploded early in this game. And then Tyler Feldkamp come in and made a couple of mistakes. That was one of them right there. But Harrisburg couldn't capitalize.
Yeah, they traded turnovers right here as Tucker Large comes up with an interception. But Riders get the ball back and they fumble it again. And this time Harrisburg does take advantage of it. They get a touchdown from Jack Tigan. Great play by Jai Rower to tie it at 14.
That was amazing stuff right there. Jack Tigan did a nice job, but Nice job as well up front.
Yeah, Caleb Dwyer right there. Roosevelt's defense was outstanding. Dannenbrink to Feldkamp to put the Riders ahead 21-14 in the third quarter. And then they get a blocked punt. This would be the difference in the game. That is Aaron Kusler. So they get a safety. It's 23-14 at the end of three quarters. Harrisburg gets an interception here from Kamen Hudson.
Really one of the only badly thrown balls by Brady Dannenbrink all night. But then the sophomore quarterback came up big.
Knuth weaves it in there to Rower to make it 23-21. Roosevelt got the ball back and really ate up the last 7 or 8 minutes, and they win it 23-21.
And then you saw right at the end there, the Gatorade bath to Kim Nelson, who won his 290th game tonight. That is the most wins by any coach to have coached in South Dakota. And just a big congratulations to Kim. And a couple of his players after the game had some nice things to say about their coach.
Selfish, he said he didn't want this game to be about him, so we kind of hit it behind his back, and every time we broke it down, we said, this one's for Nelly, let's go get it, and we got it done. So it's a great, I've been with him for 3 years, and I love that man as a father figure, and that's awesome. So I'm so happy for him and his family.
It was so exciting. That guy, he had a smile on his face the whole time, and we were all jumping up and down, and we knew that we had to get this one for him.
So they didn't make it about him, but they made it all about Kim. And he told me at the end of the game he wasn't sure if they were going to pull it off because the Harrisburg Tigers were driving at the end of this game, and the defense had to come out and stop them.
Yeah, the Kusler brothers back tonight. They didn't play last week, but both of them back tonight really got after it in that second half. But, yeah, this was as close as you could want, and that block punt by Aaron Kusler is the difference as Roosevelt wins it 23-21.
Yeah, we'll talk to Kim more in zone coverage about his historic night.
All right, Sioux Falls O'Gorman at home at the MAC tonight, taking on Rapid City Central. Cobblers coming in 0-4. O'Gorman 2-2 on the year. They got a huge game from Tate Wishard tonight on the ground.
Yeah, this guy came into the night with 10 touchdowns, most of anybody in Class AAA, and he had another big night tonight.
Evan O'Rasby getting outside, touchdown run for the Cobblers early on, but too much of Wishard tonight. 5 touchdown runs on the evening for Tate Wishard.
And when you get that close to the goal line, I tried to call him a bowling ball, but I was corrected on Twitter. He's the hammer for O'Gorman.
Zach Norton to Cade McCuska there for another score, and O'Gorman rolls up 56-28 on the Cobblers tonight. Wishard, big night there, and the Knights are 3-2 on the season.
Yeah, nice win, bounce back for O'Gorman after a couple tough weeks.
All right, at Rapid City Stephens tonight, homecoming there. They played a little bit in the rain in this game. Washington 2-2 coming in. Stephens 1-3, but losses to O'Gorman, Harrisburg, and Roosevelt, some of those top teams in the class. Stephens can throw it around the yard a little bit, Jandy.
Yeah, Bridger Nesbitt, one of their 3 key receivers, gets one from Hartford right there, Colton Hartford, but Max Thompson finds Carter Strom, and Strom had a big night for Washington to keep him in. This was definitely a back and forth game.
Yeah, no scoring in the first quarter of this game. This is all second quarter as Washington goes up 14-6.
Strom again, his second touchdown catch of the night. And Colton Hartford, we talked about it. He loves to air this thing out. Finds that's Bridger Nesbitt again for another long touchdown. So between Branson Keel and Michael Norman had a 102-yard interception return for a touchdown. And Branson Keel, Nesbitt, all these guys making big plays.
They did play through the rain.
That's Michael Johnson there with the touchdown run.
The story of this game is that it was a very long game. Washington scored.
There's Branson Keel.
Branson Keel there, but Washington gets a touchdown with 27 seconds left in the game to tie this thing at 27. There's the interception return by Josh Norman that goes back 100 yards for Stephens.
So they would make the 2-point conversion at this point to take a 6-point lead, 27-21. And you can see Washington's quarterback, Max Thompson, looking to the corner and comes up big to Tyus Hansen. And then we had to stream the last couple plays. This is the third overtime, by the way. Colton Hartford tried to run one in. I put this in there just because it reminded me of the old John Elway. There's actually a penalty on this play, but just look at this. Oh my goodness. So they thought they had to win in triple overtime, got penalized, kicked the field goal, and finally break a tie 3 overtimes into it. And Zach Whitesell makes the game winner there. Just a note on this game, Max Thompson, the quarterback for Washington, was unconscious for a while on the field. They took like an 8-minute break while they made sure he was all right. He was seen walking around after the game, so he's okay. But a big win for Rapid City Stevens on homecoming night.
All right, both teams 2-3 on the season now as Stevens knocks off Sioux Falls, Washington. In Mitchell tonight, Yankton in town to take on the Colonels. Both teams 2-2 coming into this game, and Mitchell's running back Parker Phillips got it going early, got it going in the middle, got it going late, got it going on a kickoff return touchdown later in the game. He goes about 35 yards here. Colonels up 7-0, and then Phillips again.
Beginning of the year, they thought maybe Carter Jacobson, maybe Parker Phillips will get a few carries. He absolutely has commanded that position and taken over as their lead running back.
Colonels get up 14-0. Cooper Korneman recovers after that snap and hooks it up with Tyler Solar. Freshman wide receiver Solar had 10 catches on the night for Yankton, so it's 14-7.
Nice, Brody Peterson a bit.
Mitchell got ahead 21-7, and then Yankton kept coming back in this game. There is Phillips again.
I said on my podcast this week that this would be a low-scoring game.
Good call.
That was a good call.
It's only 90 points. Not quite 90, but that is another Mitchell touchdown to go up 35-21. But again, Yankton kept coming back. They made it 35-28. Phillips had a kickoff return for a touchdown. It was 42-35 at the end of the third quarter. Fitzgerald had a kickoff touchdown return for a touchdown to make it 45-42, and that is the final in a low-scoring one, Jandy.
A low-scoring one. Parker Phillips goes over 200 yards for the second time this year, and Josh Brooks's Mitchell Colonels get it done in the end.
All right, Colonels get to 3-2. Madison and T. 11A's got 9 really good teams this year. You got Madison here, you got T area, the defending champions. And that is PJ Parmalee for T, a strip and a score to tie it up at 7-7. Madison comes back though. Tyler Tappy, Carter Bergheim, nice grab. Dogs in the lead 14-7. T comes back with a Joey Hedrick touchdown run. He had 111 yards on the night.
He's been solid at running back this year, going over 100 yards several times, and give a lot of thanks to that offensive line. You see some holes there, but look at the moves.
14-14 at halftime. More good work there by Hedrick.
A blocked field goal as he had a chance right there to make something big, but this was the last play. Got it to overtime with that touchdown run.
Yeah, that's Brock Minert made it. Madison in the lead 21-14. JT Panning scored right there to make it 21-21. Madison missed a field goal at the end of regulation, so they go to overtime, tied at 21. Teal gets a Cale Lundeen touchdown. Madison threw 4 incompletions in the overtime period, and the Titans pull it out again, 27-21 to get to 4-1.
That 14 of 33 line right there, that shows how well T area defended the pass tonight.
All right, let's go to Winter, Jandy, and 11B. Mount Vernon Plankington taking on Winter. Winter 5-0 coming into this game. Sam Kruger, touchdown run there for the Warriors, and there was not a ton of scoring.
This one I said would be low scoring as well.
You were right on this one. Winter got touchdown runs from Kruger and Philip Jorgensen.
Yeah, and Trevor Peters ran for almost 100 yards in this one as well. But Jorgensen was a huge threat and almost makes it in on that one. That was Trevor Peters who didn't cash it.
Now here's the run by Jorgensen. Mount Vernon Plankington did get a touchdown run from their main man, Jesse Hastings. But that's the only score of the night for the Titans, and Winter gets to 6-0, Jason.
Yeah, but Hastings is a guy who averages 160 yards per week rushing. That's a win for Winter to hold him to 73 yards. And they still don't have a completed pass over 6 yards this year.
All right, Tri-Valley hosting Dell Rapids tonight, Jandy, and Dell Rapids 4-0. Wins over Madison and Mitchell in their last 2 games. Take us through that.
There's Logan Ellingson. He's always in the highlights for a big play, a big spin move. And then you take Colin Rentz, who dumps it out, Tyler Wood, bringing him down the field, and then they get it capped off by Cody Mashin with the diving touchdown. That put him up 28-6 at that point. And Tri-Valley was really never in this game. Mashin another touchdown. He also had a receiving touchdown in this one. And a big win for the undefeated Dell Rapids Warriors, who they're get a real test next week against Dakota Valley.
Well, you got Dakota Valley, and really T and Madison have sucked all the air out of this class in the last couple of years in 11A. But Dell Rapids was great not too long ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and they are undefeated this year.
And they made it to the Dome last year after a, not a great season, but they played well in the playoffs, and they're showing they can maybe do that again this season.
All right, let's go Kimball-White Lake hosting Bonham. Bonham, the defending champions in 9AA. They beat Kimball-White Lake in 9AA last year. Kimball-White Lake is in 9A this year. Anyway, both these teams come into this game undefeated. Riley Rosshadow with a pick 6 there for Bonham. And then Nate Chazinski with a touchdown catch for the Cavaliers.
Boots Countover, they moved him to quarterback a couple of weeks ago, and he really is starting to look the part. Nice throw right there to Nate Chazinski, and they've had command of this game. They were a little worried about Nolan Kirsch throwing the ball on them, and showed why right there.
Kirsch to Justin Becker there, and then Kirsch on a sneak, but Bonham got to the lead, and they roll again tonight. A final of 36-18, so Bonham is 6-0, and yes, they're saying boots, not booing. They're not booing, it's boots.
And that, by the way, that Justin Becker, that guy's 6'8". Nice little target to have for Nolan Kirsch, but yeah, Bonham keeps rolling.
All right, Cavs are 6-0. In 9B, Jandy, Colman-Egan had outscored teams 191-12 in the first 4 games of the season. Alcester Hudson, a couple of plays here early. Logan Sarek, Jack Stirring, and then Sarek a fumble here, and Coleman recovers, and then Colman-Egan just took over.
Defense.
After this point, Nate Tolley to Eli Brown.
Yep. That's Eli Bowen, who had a couple of touchdowns tonight for Colman-Egan, and defense was setting them up in great field position all game long. Here's Bowen again. Rumbling in for a score. I think he had 3 on the night, if I'm not mistaken.
Two-point conversion there. Colman-Egan out 22-0. Bowen again at the end of the first quarter, and this thing got out of hand in the first half alone.
And Alcester Hudson was a ranked team coming into this one. They did not look good, and Colman-Egan had a week to prepare. They had a week off last week. Felt like they really improved over that time, and boy, did they put 9B on notice tonight.
Colman-Egan has now outscored opponents 251-12.
Good math.
In their first 5 games, so we will keep an eye on the Hawks going forward in these next 3 weeks in 9B. 9AA, Jandy, Viborg-Hurley. Cougars have quietly gotten to 4-0. They haven't had nothing even close yet in their first 4 wins of the year. Parker came into this game 4-0 as well. Matt Van Vliet to Davin Fuller, who is officially an offensive lineman, but he gets a touchdown catch right here. So Parker's in the lead, 6-0, and then Alcester Hudson took over after that. Chase Mason to Tate Kessler.
A bullet by their quarterback, Chase Mason, who's a dual threat. He can run, he can pass. He's Rob Kessler getting the team going.
Viborg-Hurley's got a really good running back right here on the reverse. Angel Johnson.
So smooth. He can get it done on the ground. Last week he received for almost 100 yards. An excellent weapon. So many athletes on this Viborg-Hurley Cougars team.
Just 14-6 at halftime. This looked like a direct snap, and then they get it back to the quarterback, Mason, to Johnson. So he did it on the ground. Did it receiving, did Angel Johnson. Made it 22-6 there, and then a little swing, and let Johnson go to work from about 7 yards out. 30-6, Viborg-Hurley. As again, they get down 6-0 and then reel off 42 in a row. And the Cougars get to 5-0.
Yeah, big win for Viborg-Hurley. Parker came in with a 4-0 record, but this was definitely their best test of the year. And Viborg-Hurley passed with flying colors. I think we have some sound from a couple of the players. Angel Johnson, one of those from the Cougars.
We weren't surprised. We knew that they were going to try to come out hard, especially from last year. They were losing a close game to us, and we knew that they wanted to come prove something, and we knew we had to come prove something tonight. So we knew we just had to bounce back after they scored and just keep going.
These guys are battlers. You know, they don't let that get them down. It's a challenge to them, and that's something we've talked about all year, is that adversity is going to happen. You know, and I'm trying to teach these men, or these young men, how to be men and how to overcome adversity, and they're doing it this year because if they get down, they ain't afraid. They'll come back and punch them in the mouth. These guys wanted to come in and they wanted to play physical football, and you know, we knew they didn't throw the ball much, but they just wanted to try to pound it down our throat, and you know, our boys stepped up to the challenge and took advantage when they could.
Looking around, everybody's smiling, and we're happy. And we know this is a statement win. We got to prove that we're the best, and we just got to keep going and move on to next week.
They're good stories so far. I mean,
very fun.
They're 5-0, and they've just kind of blitzed everybody so far.
It's been fun in 9-man football. A lot of ranked teams playing each other. We see some separation. Viborg-Hurley looked good. Bonham looked good. Colman-Egan looked good. And then we had another ranked battle between Deuel and Britton-Hecla, and this one lived up to the billing. There's Britton-Hecla.
That's Trevor Zilke with a touchdown run. And then he scores on a sneak as well. And Britton-Hecla out to a 14-0 lead. Deuel did come back. Carter Hoffman.
That's the guy you can't hold throughout an entire ball game. You can see the tail end of his long touchdown run right there. That was 6-6 most of the ball game. And then late in the game, Britton-Hecla found a way to get this thing done in the corner, I believe.
Interception, though, first here by Carter Hoffman, as you said, to keep it tied up, and then Britton-Hecla will score here later on a Cole Fosness touchdown run.
Yeah, this was back and forth between the 20s. There were turnovers on both sides, but Britton-Hecla got enough big plays in the end. You know, didn't get the huge yards that they're used to, and Deuel proved that they're a really solid team, but Britton-Hecla gets the win.
Britton-Hecla 5-0 now in Class 9A in South Dakota. All right, when we come back, we will have some zone coverage. We'll go back to Jody, get some coaches' comments from North Dakota, and hear from Kim Nelson, Sioux Falls Roosevelt head coach tonight, as he picks up win number 290.
Varsity Sports Live on Midco Sports Network is presented by Avera Orthopedics, South Dakota State University, and Farmers Union Insurance.
Welcome back. Time for zone coverage. We'll hear from some of the coaches after their teams got victories tonight. And there was a victory in Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls Roosevelt beat Harrisburg tonight 23-21. Great game, great matchup at Howard Wood Field. But Kim Nelson, the head coach of Sioux Falls Roosevelt, 290 wins, more than anybody else now in South Dakota. Yeah, that is quite an accomplishment. And you could tell he wanted to get this thing over with, but it also really caught him up in the moment. It was fun to check in with Kim after the game.
I'm lucky to be working at Roosevelt. A lot of good people that work there. The administration's really supportive. They're great. I got a great coaching staff. I love working with them. And all the kids are really, really good kids and good people. And you know, their parents are supportive. You know, I'm not going to say anything bad about anybody tonight, but it all kind of works together. You know, if we're all pulling in the same direction, we got a chance to do some good things. And so I think, you know, tonight, you know, I thought we missed some opportunities to score some more points, but our defense kept us in the ball game, and it became a really, you know, tight ball game, obviously, at the end. And I really thought Harrisburg was going to make a play, you know, and win the ball game. But we made some good plays. We put pressure on them. Eddie Whiting did a great job calling defenses tonight. And my favorite play is victory formation. We got to run that a couple times tonight. So just really happy. First of all, happy that it's over and we can move on to other things. But, you know, it just makes you reflect on a lot of great times and a lot of great memories.
Victory formation for the victor.
It's a good story. And yes, we know that he had some wins when he coached in Edina, Minnesota. You can split that hair if you want, but the number.
But the Coaches Association puts this number out, and that's what we're going off of.
Yes, Congratulations to Kim Nelson. Great story there. All right, let's get up to North Dakota. Jody Norstead standing by with some more coach reaction from North Dakota tonight. Jode?
Yeah, and we'll start with actually some highlights that we missed in our North Dakota version. Had a little bit of an error, but let's take a look back because it was a huge matchup in Region 1. Oaks against Lisbon. Two teams unbeaten on the season, entering with unblemished 4-0 records, 3-0 in region play. What a start. Oaks had a long kick return, and then it would lead to this pass. Garrett Meal to Ashton Biesterfeld, the former game ball winner. Down to the 1, Oaks would punch it in, go up 7-0. Then on the next possession, Lisbon gets that run game going. Jordan Sowers, boy, he's been so close to getting a game ball. Skips out of a tackle. He's into the end zone. Broncos go up 8-7 with the 2-pointer. Ensuing kickoff. Another long return for Oaks. David Schmitz right into your living room and then off into the distance on the baseball field. He runs all the way. Makes it 13-8 Oaks. The Oaks bench is loving it. The Oaks crowd is loving it. And we're still in the first quarter. Lisbon responds with a touchdown of their own. Meals back to pass, and it gets deflected here. Watch this wacky play. Caleb Nielsen deflects it off Barrett Galinsky, and then somehow Nielsen comes away with it and returns it to the 30-yard line. Broncos, a little bit of a stampede, and Lisbon takes advantage of that field position. Guess who? Jordan Sowers punching it in, making it 20-13 Lisbon, but the scoring was not done in the first quarter. We keep on scoring. Logan Sell, just too slippery. He ends up scoring, makes it 20-20 at the end of one quarter, and Lisbon ends up winning this one in shootout fashion, 48-38. Lisbon next week gets Thompson, Sam Roller, an early game ball candidate. 288 rushing yards tonight with 5 touchdowns in a win over Northern Taft. So that sets up a big one in Region 1 next week. Lisbon, perfect record in region play. Thompson with just the 1 loss to Oaks. Oaks now with the loss to Lisbon. We could have a logjam there. Let's take a look at Cheyenne's reaction. That was a big win tonight against West Fargo, 21-6. The Mustangs stay undefeated. Brika Penu, 149 rushing yards and 2 scores, as the Mustangs and Jeremy Newton get another win over West Fargo.
It's awesome. Coach Gibson is one of the best coaches that I've ever coached against. He always does something that messes us up. Luckily, we stayed together as a team and we were able to adjust. I felt like this is the best the defense played. They started making plays, and they made plays when they needed to, and that was really good for us. We're doing things right. I'm sure that they'll have an answer for us in the future for sure, but it was nice to get this one.
How about Legacy getting it done tonight out west against Bismarck? They gave up that first touchdown, but then boom, they blow the doors off and end up winning that game 30-14 over the Bismarck Demons.
You hope to contain them, slow them down as much as possible. You know, that first series they went right down the field and scored, and it's kind of like a typical Bismarck High team does, and our kids didn't give up. They rallied around it and came back and fought hard, and proud of our kids for stiffening up.
So Legacy looking good in a big 9-man matchup. Finley Sharon Hope Page gets the win, improves to 6-0 with a win over LaMoure-Litchfield-Marion, 30-18. Brad Anderson was there on the call for 103.9 The Truck. Brad has the recap for us.
Hey, thanks, Jody. Big night for Jack Irie and Finley Sharon Hope Page in a 30-18 win over LaMoure-Litchfield-Marion, with Blake Jacobson out for the year with a knee injury. Irie shouldered more of the load, 32 carries, 288 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, also caught a touchdown pass as well from Owen Zerfus in the first half. And Irie with a 22-18 Finley Sharon Hope Page lead, 59-yard touchdown run with just over 4 minutes left sealed the game. And these Spartans now 6-0 as they have established themselves at the top of Region 1 9-man football.
I think we heard a few game ball nominees. We'll see who gets it this week, guys.
Can't wait to see, Jody.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jody. All right, when we come back, a look at some live college football coming up on Saturday here on Midco Sports Network. All right, the rundown, our hype video of all tonight's highlights will be on social media, right?
Yep, check it on Twitter.
All right, college football here on Midco Sports Network on Saturday, 1 o'clock, Mary at Moorhead, and we've got UND and Eastern Washington at 4 o'clock.
That'll be good.
On Saturday. We'll see you next week.